Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel. We're your host Daniel, and we are here with the brilliant DJ Grywuff, or to our friends, Lisa. So welcome, Lisa.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, so Lisa, for those who don't know, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So basically, I'm new to the DJing world. I've only been DJing, I think, for I want to say 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So I'm kind of new to it.
Yeah.
I started off. I'm new to raving, which is kind of probably for you guys. It's kind of weird. I wasn't one of those people that started raving when I was really young. I actually only started raving maybe a couple years ago. I was a rocker chick. I was a rocker chick. I loved all kinds of music, but new metal or alternative metal, I think at one point it was called, was my thing. I would listen to bands like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Godsmack, Cold, any new album that would come out when there were CDs. I was there every Tuesday buying them. Loved music. If you want to start out like where my influences were, my dad mostly listened to oldies and country. So that like when I was younger, I would listen to like Ricky Nelson, Bobby Darin, if you guys are familiar with those singers, Jackie Wilson, some country singers, Alan Jackson, Toby Keith, may he rest in peace, is one of my favorites. Uh, Garth Brooks. I pretty much listened to everything. If you think of it, the only thing I really wasn't really into was rap and hip hop. I'm kind of still not into it, but I pretty much liked everything.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. You sort of like us, really, like myself, Lisaboo, and a few other people here. It's like we all listen to a lot of different genres of music.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
the exact same way. I had the influence from my parents because, like I said, they liked the oldies and the country, and then
yeah,
when Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves came out, there was that one song, "Everything I Do It for You." Bryan Adams, oh my god, fell in love with his music when I was, I think, 12 at the time. Went to my very first concert at the Greek Theater was Bryan Adams when I was 16. Nearly cried because my dad had said, "Hey, I got you tickets." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I'm gonna have to bring earplugs to go." But oh my god, I remember I got the what was it? The concert t-shirts, because you always bought merch when you went to concerts.
yeah,
Wore it to nothing, basically. And you met Lisaboo, you met Bryan Adams. That is so cool.
yeah,
He was my favorite. I think he was my first love when it came to music. Like my own influence, I guess, was Bryan Adams. And I fell in love with guitar from that day on. Wanted to play guitar, but never got to it. Because my mom wanted me to be a concert pianist. So at 5, she had me learn piano, and I never liked piano. But that was my mom's dream. Played piano, classical piano, like I played for 10 years. And then I think my mom finally realized I didn't like it. So about 15 is when I stopped. But
well,
always wanted to learn how to play guitar, and I just never, I mean, I could dabble a little bit, but not the way you want to play, you know what I mean?
yeah. Were you did you go through the grades on the piano?
uh I learned, I didn't know how to play by ear. I
Yeah,
knew people that knew how to do that, and I was kind of jealous of that. I was more of a music reader. So
yeah,
I knew how to read music and play from there, but I had to practice. I couldn't pick it up like some people that can play by ear, they could pick it up right away. I didn't have that gift. I knew one of my friends I had, she could do that, and I was always, "Oh, I wish I could do that." But I was more of a like read the notes and play type of person.
yeah. Cool, cool. So going from sort of like going on from like falling in love with Bryan Adams, was there any other sort of like bands that really sort of like stood out for you growing up?
I think after Bryan Adams, I went to, if this is kind of weird, I went to Gin Blossoms, and I still to this day love Gin Blossoms. Um, and which is kind of weird. Then it went to Everclear. My musical influence like kind of went through like an evolution. So then it went to Everclear, which happened to be my second concert. I remember seeing Everclear with Jimmy Chicken Shack, but at the time, I didn't like Jimmy Chicken Shack. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jimmy Chicken Shack, but
Don't think I have.
at the time, I didn't like that type of music. That would come later. but I would say Gin Blossoms was probably my second one. Favorite like class like oldies was always Ricky Nelson and Jackie Wilson.
Yeah.
Those two, I remember. I'm gonna date myself, but I remember putting the tape in and playing it when I was younger, over and over again. I just found it somewhere. I don't know where I found it. Probably in my parents, collection that they had, and I remember putting the tape in, and I would be playing Ricky Nelson and Jackie Wilson.
Two good musicians there. Two good musicians there. I really liked Jackie Wilson, especially back in the 60s. With it's got to be what, from the 60s onwards.
Yeah, it's 60s.
Yeah,
I listened to some 50s, but I think most of the artists that I liked are from the 60s.
yeah. I'm sort of like similar, like with me. It was my parents who had sort of like constantly having sort of like 50s and 60s music on in the background, because they grew up in like they were born in the 40s and grew up in the 50s.
Yeah, same with me. Same exact thing.
Yeah. So always had that. This particular band I used to dance to when I used to go out when I was a teenager back in the 50s. I was like, yeah, I can see that. I can see why you like this. Like so it's just like Elvis Presley. You got the Bill Haley, and you got like going into the 60s. You got the sort of like the Rolling Stones, the Who, those types of stuff, those types of bands. So, yeah. So, right. I'm just keeping an eye on the chat there. So, going on to sort of like your sort of like DJ work with obviously with being DJ Grywuff. Who got you into it?
DJ Lewis Love got me into it, believe it or not. I saw him mixing, and I decided to try it, and I fell in love with it. I haven't been consistent with it as much as I want to be, but I'm gonna change that. But he got me into it. I would always go, I don't like that music. Or like, what are you listening to? Or he would play some weird, like Adam X. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Adam X. He'd play Adam X, and I'm like, oh, that is weird music. Like, how are you grooving off of that? Funny story. Now, a few years later, I got to see Adam X live, and now I'm a fan of his. So it all depends. Like now I get it. Like, oh, I saw him live, and it changes your perspective of things. But what artist got me into like dance music per se was Oliver Heldens. I heard him on the radio because I was giving it a chance. I said, all right, I used to listen to like the 90s dance music, but like the radio play, like Technotronic, Pump Up the Jam, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would listen to when I was younger. So I did like the poppy side of the dance music. And I was like, you know what? Let me try it again. Let me listen to it. Let me give it a chance. And then I ended up finding Oliver Heldens and fell in love with Oliver Heldens. And then it just went on from there. And then it went on to Armand Van Helden, Roger Sanchez. Then Oliver Heldens has a, side project where he does techno as high-low. So then it went there. And then it went into techno. So then, I started liking like Marie Vaughn, Eli Brown, The list could go on. So it started off with one artist, Oliver Heldens. If you guys aren't familiar with it, I guess he's known for one of the founders of Future House. So he kind of has like that. I'm not gonna say now. I feel like now it's more poppy, like his sound. But like when he started out, it was more of like kind of like 90s kind of sound. When he started off, so I kind of attached to that, and then I just moved on from there.
So, have you sort of like played live on the decks?
I do on Twitch. I got an opportunity at EDC to play a track because they kind of were doing like a back to back to back to back to back, and they grabbed me and put me on the deck, so I was able to mix a track at Camp OG at EDC. So I thought that was kind of cool. But mostly what I've done is basically Twitch on my Twitch channel. But other than that, I haven't really done any live shows. I would like to maybe when I get in the future, but
yeah, it's just like one of the Grumpy Sapper said, have you where was your best live event? So
that is a good question. After all the concerts I've gone to, I think the concerts that I liked were kind of like the intimate ones, because with the intimate, like the smaller venues, because you were able to see the artist. So I've got I think one that I've seen many times over and over again were Eve 6 and Our Lady Peace, and they were always like at the Palladium or like a smaller venue like that, and I always enjoyed those because it was weird. I would go to one at like a smaller venue like the Palladium and then go to a bigger venue, because I remember I think I saw Our Lady Peace, and then it went to the next concert, I think a couple days later, because I used to go to a lot of concerts way back in the day, was Korn, and the opening act was Stained, and this was before Stained got big. So I remember, because we were way out nosebleed, and it was still a great event. I still enjoyed it. But I like those more intimate venues better. I know probably a bunch of you are probably like crazy, like thinking I'm crazy, like you should like the bigger venues, but I prefer the smaller venues. Even with I mean, it's a little different when it comes to raves, because when they do have like a DJ at a club, you've got all those like rules, like there's dress codes, like you can't bring your bag. It's like a kind of different than a festival. So like in that case, I prefer a festival over like a club, because I feel like a club is kind of like they have rules, they're stuck up in a way, and I'd rather just go dressed in comfortable clothing like my jeans and t-shirt and enjoy a DJ that way and enjoy the music that way, than having to wear like a pair of slacks or a dress or whatnot. You know what I mean?
yeah, I've been to a lot of venues like that where you got to be no tracksuits, no trainers, no sneakers, no sort of like anything like that. And it's just like thinking, really? He's just like thinking, stop being stuck up. It's music's for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Like you should be able to go. Why are you dressing up? It's not like they're seeing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like no
yeah,
one's seeing you. Even if they record the set, they're not seeing. I mean, they'll see the crowd, but it's not like pointed directly at you, so they're not going to know like what you're wearing. You know what I mean? So I feel
yeah,
like that shouldn't be a concern when you go to see anyone playing music.
yeah,
And I know the rock
yeah.
side is a little more relaxed when it comes to that. Like I never really had dress codes or anything, even with the smaller venues when I had to when I went, to see a band or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's the rock and metal scene's sort of like more inclusive in a lot of things. Like I've seen people go in with like, well, I've seen people like do in full drag. I've seen people go in like with sort of like jeans and t-shirts and stuff like that, and then other times you got people like in full goth gear.
I've seen that too, and then I know when you do go, because way back in the day we had like the chains and the spiky collar. They probably still have that now, but
Yeah, they do.
if you walked in a show with that, they would make you take it off. Type of stuff
Yeah.
that I understand, because that kind of stuff they want you to be safe, so that I understand. I kind of understand,
Yeah.
but having to wear like
Mhm.
business attire to go to a house music DJ, I feel like is like not needed.
Yeah. We've got a couple of comments. Nerd Report, hey up Lewis, says, why does Lisa look 12 years old today?
I don't know, maybe my hat, I don't know. I have a good camera.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that, Lewis. Got another question from Lewis. Have you ever danced? If no, will you ever?
I'm kind of a closet dancer. I mean, I guess I dance when no one's watching, but I'm not much of a dancer when I'm in a crowd. I'm kind of like, I vibe a different way from other people. I mean, at first when you look from the outside, it probably looks like I'm not enjoying myself, even though I am, because I kind of I'll headbang a little bit and I'll move my hands or whatnot, but I'm not like that one that's gonna like go all out when at a show. Maybe if it's just me, if it was just me and the DJ, then I'd probably dance, but but not if it's a bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same. So we've got got a question. Thank you for that, Lewis. Got a question from Lisaboo. She asks if you could see any DJ live, who would that be?
I actually really want to see but he's usually on the East Coast. That's why he's on my list. I haven't seen him yet. Oscar G he's on my list. I've actually seen my other favorites. Like I've seen Roger Sanchez, I've seen Oliver Heldens, I've seen Eli Brown, um, and I've seen High Low, which is Oliver Heldens, but his techno side. But with Oliver Heldens, he kind of he it doesn't matter if he's Oliver Heldens or High Low, he'll play tracks from both sides. So it's like but it's Oscar G. If you guys aren't familiar with Oscar G, he is Merc. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. He's usually out in Miami, so a lot of the shows that he does do are on the East Coast. I think he's come out here once like last year, and it was to San Francisco. So I'm hoping one day he'll come out this way. I'm hoping to SoCal here.
Cool. Yeah, hope you get to see him. Hope to get you to see him. Thank you for that, Lisaboo. We've got another question from Aussie Queen of the Rose, and she asks, "What is your most favorite song?"
Oh my gosh, I have so many. I have so many. That's like that. It's a good question. I have so many. I think if you want to go, because way back then when there was music videos, I used to watch a lot of music videos, so that I used to have a lot of favorite music videos. So maybe obviously Bryan Adams is going to be in the mix there with favorite songs. It's Everything I Do for You, obviously, because that's what got me. I feel like that's what started my musical journey. Then if you want to go there's Google Dolls, Iris. Love that. It was on the City of Angels soundtrack, if I'm thinking of the right song. Because sometimes I get brain farted. Um I like Corn, Falling Away From Me. That's one of my favorite videos. I'm going by videos too, because I like the video. Stained, It's Been a While. Um if you want to go back to older, and then with dance music, I think I have right now with dance music, I'm listening to a DJ called Maluji, and he's kind of like I don't know what they exactly call his music because I've seen it so many times. I've heard Euro dance, bouncy trance. uh hard house I've heard thrown out there, but he's kind of like where he's kind of got the old rave sound with the pianos, and he's bringing back the 90s kind of thing. So I've kind of been listening to him lately. I've been obsessed with him lately. Ever since I saw him at EDC, this past EDC, I've been in love with that music because I was like, what? This is like house, but it's fast. It's like a faster house. And I was like, oh, because I like techno, and techno kind of has that faster beat to it. So I was like, this is me, and I've been attached to it ever since. So anything from Muluji or like a Muluji type DJ I've been listening to lately. But I have a lot of favorite songs, so that I could go on for hours about with that question.
Yeah, I was going to say that that is a sort of like loaded question, because if you sort of like ask anybody, they would sort of like list off songs, bands, like a list a mile long, where you can turn and say, oh, I like this song from this band because of this reason. I like this song from this musician for that reason. And you just like, like you said, you could go on for hours.
Yeah, I could go for hours. Literally, I could if.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for that, Ozzy. Right. Gonna Girl's just asked, Lisa, have you DJ'd any 80s music?
I tried. I haven't really. I've done a little Depeche Mode. The crazy thing about with some of those songs, I mean, they can be mixable, but some of them are radio edits. And if you're not familiar with radio edits, they're basically songs that are made for the radio. So it's not a song that you can mix in, but there is ways that you could go around it. It's just, I've done Depeche Mode. I've done a little, because I used to listen to Depeche Mode back in the day. I did have a stint where I listened to New Wave. So I did listen to Razor, Depeche Mode, and stuff like that. But I've dabbled a little bit, but not too much. I'm more of a 90s house girl.
Yeah, cool. So thank you for that, Gonna Girl. Right. Lisaboo has just asked a question. You mentioned playing the piano. Any other instrument you play?
I did play for 2 years in elementary school. I did play violin. I think I stopped because I did like violin, but I think I stopped because it was too easy. I don't know. I know this sounds weird to say playing an instrument was too easy, but at that point, I think I was playing piano for 5 or 6 years at that time. So going into I already knew how to read music, so going into violin was super easy. And then I've dabbled with guitar on my own, so I can play a little guitar, but just not too much.
Yeah. I think it's like once you sort of like get the sort of like the basics down with like reading sheet music or picking up by ear, it's sort of like it's easier to transfer over to sort of like another instrument.
It is. It's actually really, especially when you're young. When you're young, you pick up everything. I think as you get older, it kind of gets harder, and that's why with the guitar, I picked it up later in life, like in my 20s. So it was like I would get I'd get frustrated with it, to be honest with you, but I could play a little, like basic on a guitar.
Yeah, I think most can who are sort of like it's got that sort of like interest in sort of like, oh, I want to pick up say the guitar, and you sort of like, especially when you get to a certain age where you see like when you've been following a lot of bands who use a lot of guitars, and you sort of like pick up the finger positions, the chord transitions and stuff like that. It's sort of like, oh, I can actually do that.
And then also too, you have to have like long fingers. Because a lot of like when you're trying to do a chord, sometimes you got to use your thumb, and I was like, how the heck do they do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially when some of the guitars have got like they're going from like 6 to 8 to 12, and I've also seen guitars being made with 20 odd strings on them, and it's just like, how the hell are you going to play that?
But you see, when you see it, I mean, when the person plays the guitar or drums or any instrument, they make it look easy. It's crazy. And then when you try to do it, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like, I've seen like drummers who use drummers. You got like you got the four main sort of like the toms and the snare and the couple of sort of like bigger drums with the sticks, and then you got like the sort of like the single bass drum. But I've also seen drummers who've got like, you've got around about 30-40 different types of drums with a double bass drum and double kick pedals.
I mean, with the drums, I'm good, like this.
Yeah.
That's about it. But when you try to enter your legs, that's my coordination when it comes to that. I was like, how do they do this? Because I got to think about like, hitting this with my leg and then going like this, and then you think you sound good, but then you actually don't.
Yeah. Then you sort of like go, especially with the drums. Then if you go into sort of like the black and death metal, you've got like all the blast beats and everything. I was just like thinking, especially when they're doing like something like 1,000 beats per second, 1,000 beats per minute. I was like, what the hell?
Some of those death metal songs, though, it's like, especially I call them screamos, because that's all you hear is with them. Yeah. It's just they're screaming, and I never that was the one thing I never got into, because it was just, to me, it just sounded like screaming. I kind of was like the person that I enjoyed hearing the person sing. So so it was like with Slipknot, for example. Corey had a side band, Stone Sour. I preferred Stone Sour over Slipknot because he used his voice more. Like, I loved his singing voice. So I'm kind of more of I like hearing them sing instead of scream. I mean, the screaming's cool, but to an extent.
Yeah. I know what you mean, because sometimes the death growl can be a bit too much.
Yeah.
Especially with the black metal. So yeah, it's very similar. The black and death metal are very similar, but black metal is more of the satanic, shall we say?
Yeah, it kind of yeah, you're right. It kind of is associated with that.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, bit sidetracked there, but yeah, thank you for that, Lisa. Right, Lewis has just asked, what are your thoughts on the bad rap raves and undergrounds get by the media, claiming that people suck and de-usage?
I remember, because like I said, I'm new to the rave scene, so I remember seeing all those. You would always hear someone, passing away at a rave. You would rarely hear that at a rock concert. So obviously raves get that bad rap because of it. And for some odd reasons, the news wants to like accentuate that, even though there are those things at rock concerts too. You just don't hear about it. Because when I went to rock concerts, they did have those things there. I don't know if anyone, passed away or anything, because the media obviously didn't catch on to that, but they wanted to attack themselves on the raves. The raves aren't like that, honestly. When you go, because I've been to both sides, when you go to a rave, it's completely different than a rock concert. Because I feel like when you go to a rock concert, you're there with your friends, you kind of stay to yourself. You're there to see the band, even if it's a festival, like you're there to go to your favorite bands. When you go to a rave, everyone is it's weird to me. Like, they want to talk to you. It's weird. They're nice. They're accommodating. You might go to one where you might get some rude people, but for the most part, everyone's like really open and friendly, and you could strike up a conversation with. I'm not that type of person. I don't really strike up. I kind of just go to listen to the music, but when you go, you get a lot of people that want to talk. So they're super friendly there compared to like a rock concert, I feel like, when I went. But it was there too at the rock concert. Like, and I still see it now going to raves. It's there. I kind of just I go for music. I never did any of that kind of stuff. Even when I was younger, I never did that kind of stuff. I didn't need that stuff. I was more there for the music. The music did it for me. Or,
Yeah.
buying CDs is what did it for me. That was what kind of but I just feel like the media paints a bad rap about raves, and they shouldn't, because they're no different, I feel like, than rock concerts. They aren't. It's almost the
Yeah.
same. It's just the people are kind of different. You have like I said, friendlier people at raves compared to rock concerts. You may have a few people at rock concerts that you can strike up a conversation with, but for the most part, that's how I saw it. Like when I went to my first rave, I was like, whoa, the people are completely different. This is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like with the with the rock and metal concerts, they're sort of like more. They are friendly. They do look after each other. But they're sort of like more respectful in their personal space. So it's I haven't really sort of like experienced the rave culture, because I've been a rock and metaler for as far back as I can remember, and it's like I haven't experienced the rave side, so that's the only thing I can go on is like from the rock and metal side of things.
I would definitely recommend, and I've told this to a coworker that I used to work with because she goes to a lot of concerts. She was like, I was thinking about going to one. I was like, go, like you're missing out. Like check it out. Like even I feel like even if you're not too much in the music, like go just experience it, because it's fun. It's fun to go to. It's fun
Yeah.
to vibe. You could walk around and see things. It's not just the music there. There's other, like, they have activities, and they have side, stages with the lesser known DJs, as I call it, uh, mixing, which don't get as much people because people only go see people that they know. And I feel like I've always been one to kind of listen to different people. Even when I was younger, I would always try to find new music and try to see different people, because you never know. You might find that diamond in the rough that you really enjoy. Even if it's not a big band or DJ, they may be like the greatest thing ever. It's just
Yeah.
people haven't heard of them yet.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I set up Project Metal, is to help people to discover new up and coming, whether it be sort of like bands or musicians or DJs, is to like say, check this band out, check this musician out, check this DJ out, type of thing. Because you never know, you might find something that you actually might like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you for that, Lewis. Thank you for that. We've got a question from Jaya. She asks, how and why did you choose the name Grywuff?
So basically, way back in the day, when there was AOL, if you guys remembered AOL, and you would go dial up and you'd have to wait for to go on the internet. I couldn't figure out a screen name for that, and my dad, because I like wolves, so that's kind of where it comes from. I like wolves, and my dad was like, "Why don't you use Grywuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." So it kind of just stuck. It's kind of a homage to my dad. He did pass away 5 years ago, so it kind of is like me carrying him with me. But it's something it's something unique. I know no one has it, so I kind of that's the reason why I use it. And it's mostly because my dad was the one that gave it to me, so it kind of has like a meaning to me.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you for that, Jaya. Is there any more plans on doing more sort of like Twitch streams with your?
I do want to do more. I've been kind of lacking on that side, like I said earlier. So I'm going to try to do more. I'll probably go on this week. I'll probably try to go on Tuesday for sure because I've been a while and I need to go. I've been itching to go back on.
Cool, cool. Would you sort of like, this is probably going down into the future now. Are you sort of like planning on doing any sort of like live small shows?
I hope so. If I could find, I would like to do a live show. It'd be kind of cool because I know it's kind of different mixing in your house, or in your bedroom or your office, wherever it might be, compared to mixing at a live show. So I would love to do that one day if I had the opportunity. I would love to, honestly, I would.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. So going on from the DJ work that you've been doing over to the spooky kind. You love the spooky.
Yes, I do. You could tell by my background.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you get into sort of like everything that is spooky?
I think I liked horror movies when I was younger, but not, I mean, obviously when you're a kid, you always think everything you watch is real. So I thought Michael Myers was real. Jason was real. Freddy Krueger was weird. Freddy Krueger got me for the longest time, but I think when I was in my 20s is when I really got into horror and I started watching horror movies like regularly. So I don't watch horror movies to get scared because I don't get scared by them. I watch them because I like them. So I started just rewatching all, the horror movies from when I was younger, and I do prefer the horror movies from the 80s because I prefer the practical effects over the CGI. And I feel like a lot of the horror movies that they do today just don't cut it. So my favorite subgenre in horror is slasher. So I do like, and my favorite slasher is Jason. So I do tend to gravitate toward slashers. I enjoy them. I don't care if the storyline's bad. I enjoy them. Don't ask me why. So it came about just kind of out of nowhere. I just kind of got into it, and here we are.
Cool. Cool. So obviously you love Jason. So is there any other horror movie franchises that you do like?
I do like Happy Death Day. I think there's only 2 movies with Happy Death Day with the babyface killer. I recently got into Ghostface. So Scream. I think there's too many Screams though. We don't need any more.
Yeah.
We don't need any more Screams. I think I've seen it. I like Terrifier with Art the Clown. I know they're making I don't know if they started making it yet, but they are going to make the 4th and final film. I like Halloween. I like Michael Myers. I like Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street. Though he's not my favorite, but I like him. I like Hellraiser. With Hellraiser, they're kind of the last one they did have Pinhead as a female, which is more toward the book. I was fine with that. It was all open for it, but the storyline and the way the costumes looked in that one, which was the Hellraiser that was on Hulu, just did not get me like the 1980, I think it was 87 when the first one came out, Hellraiser. Like nothing can beat the makeup and the look, or no one can replace Doug Bradley as Pinhead. Period.
Yeah, true. Yeah. With Hellraiser, Clive Barker was the author. Would you sort of like read his books prior to like watching the films, or would you go to reading his books?
I didn't. I was a reader. I would read a lot when I was in my early 20s, and then I kind of stopped. But I watched the movies first, and then I realized that, the first one was based on Hellbound Heart, the first Hellraiser. So I decided to read a little bit of it. I never finished it because not that Clive Barker is a bad writer. He isn't. When he writes, he's very, how can I explain it? He's very descriptive, like very imaginative when he writes. So he does like explain I like how he writes. I for some odd reason I just never finished the book.
Yeah, cool, cool. Um, right. Now, I did see a couple of videos to this. They've released a couple of videos about this question from Gaia. She asks, "Have you watched Monster Ed Gein on Netflix? If yes, what did you think of it?"
Yes, I do, and I have the review on Grayson Report on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. I did like it. My review on Grayson Report does go more in depth about like the differences, what was true and false. As if you're familiar with the Monsters series on Netflix, Ryan Murphy does take liberties. So a lot of the times with the story, things aren't going to be real, or that's not exactly what's going to happen. If you're good with that, and as long as you keep that in mind when you do watch these, you're fine. It was like super apparent with the previous monsters. There's 3 of them. There's he did one with Jeffrey Dahmer, which is still my favorite to this day. He did one on Eric and Lau Menendez, and it was with the liberties that he took. It was super apparent that people actually believed it with the Eric and Lau Menendez trial, which got them a retrial. If you guys aren't familiar with that story, but then they were denied. I guess their sentences to remain the same, if I'm not mistaken. But Ed Gein is not my favorite one. Like I said, the Jeffrey Dahmer one is. It was a bit slow for me. Not to say it was bad. It was a bit slow. A little hard for me to watch. Not because of the subject matter, because I'm all about gore and I can watch Hellraiser while eating dinner. You know, I'm that type of person. Like gore doesn't affect me. It was just slow. For me, the actors did an amazing job. If you guys haven't watched it, watch it. But it is slow. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Charlie Hunnam, he did an amazing job. He amazing job. I have utmost respect for him for doing that role. I do know they are making another one about Lizzie Borden, which probably will come out next year, and Charlie Hunnam is in that one as well, and they're filming it already. There was a lot of nudity in it that I felt like you didn't need, but I guess it's part of the story. I guess for the ladies, you get to see Charlie Hunnam, in the buff. But I didn't care for that really, honestly. I felt like I guess it's part of selling the story, but I felt like there was a bit too much of that in there. But I liked it all in all, and there, even with like the kind of discrepancies with it, it was still kind of interesting to watch, and to see him come to life. The voice that Charlie Hunnam does, I don't care for. I felt like in some ways, it kind of like when he was talking, it kind of went into like an Irish accent, like a little bit of a tiny bit of like an Irish or Scottish accent at the end. When he was talking, but I get why he used that voice, because Ed Gein was kind of sheltered, and kind of socially awkward, so it matches, but I didn't really like the voice too much. But if you guys haven't seen it, it's on Netflix now. Check it out. And then also, too, I do have a spoiler review on Grayson Report if you want to check that out, too, as well.
Gaia said, "I will definitely check it out. Check out the review. Thank you." So we've got another question. Gonna Girl has said, "Lisa, those are super intense movies. I saw Halloween in the theater, and I was terrified ever since. You're very brave."
Like I said, when I was younger, Halloween would scare me. There's still some aspects of it that I do get jump scared from. Like if it's something I'm not expecting, I'll jump. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But I don't. And there's still things that like with Halloween, for example, when Laurie Strode looks out the window and she sees Michael Myers standing there with the laundry. She's looking out her bedroom window and he's standing there just staring at her. That scene has always got me. Probably not my favorite scene of the movie, but one of the scenes when I was younger that would get me. Not so much now, but I get it. Like a lot of the movie, yeah, a lot of it's like crazy. Um, I feel like the movies now though, because they're in the let's remake this phase. I
Yeah,
get it because they're trying to make movie money. Because if they do something that no one knows about, people aren't gonna watch it. So that's why they keep making 20 Conjurings and 20 Screams, which I don't think we need.
yeah,
I honestly wish they would make something unique and different that would grab our attention.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Some of I've seen a lot of the I call what was called back then, back in the early 80s, video nasties, and I've seen some really like horrific ones, shall we say? And I was just like, when I heard that they're going to be sort of like remaking the Evil Dead,
Oh,
I was like remaking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or the I was just like thinking, why on earth are you doing this?
like they wanna. I heard that they're remaking the Blair Witch Project, and if you guys are familiar with the Blair Witch Project, it started off the shaky cam craze, right? But also the reason why that movie got um so much hype was because people thought it was real.
Yeah,
So the fact
yeah,
that they want to remake that, I don't think it's going to have the same hype
yeah,
as the first one, and I don't think they need to remake it. They
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's one film, there's one film I watched when I was a kid. Why why my family actually let me actually watch this film was a Cannibal Holocaust. But it was made in I think it was the 70s. I
70s.
think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think I've seen that movie yet, but I'm familiar with it.
yeah, and there was a big uproar about it. And people were saying, "Oh, it's real, it's real, it's real." And there was a big investigation because it was in Italy. It was like the film crew was actually based in Italy. So the literally the police, the prosecutors dragged the director into court, literally in the court. Says, "What have you done with these actors? You sort of like unalived them." Says, "No, they're not. I didn't do that. There they are there, sitting there in the front row. It's a film." So there was a big uproar about it, and I was just like thinking, some people are dumb for
Yeah,
believing.
but back then too, I mean, nothing. They didn't really have anything. I want to say until The Exorcist came out. Really that caught people's attention. There might have been some before that, but I feel like the one like in the 70s that got people was The Exorcist because no one's ever seen anything like that. So I mean, now we look back and say, yeah, why would someone think that movie was real? But back then, I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, with the Exorcist, it was actually based off true events.
I
Um,
oh yeah, but it wasn't a girl; it was a boy.
yeah, yeah. It was. I did see a documentary good few years back. It was like sort of like they said that the 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 boy what was it again? That he sort of like didn't want people to know who he was, so to speak, and he just did not tell anybody. He just did not says, "Oh yeah, I'm I'm the sort of like the subject of this movie back in 1973." I was just like, but which I can actually understand really when you come to think about it.
Yeah, I understand that too because if you're a subject to a movie, you're gonna get people calling you for interviews. You're gonna get people. It doesn't like now we have social media, but back then we didn't. But you're gonna have a lot of YouTube channels. Like if it was now, contacting you. So I get it, but at the same time, when you do go into something like that, um, I say the same thing with people that buy houses that were featured in films. It's the same exact thing. If you're gonna expect people to want to know who you are, and they're gonna look you up, and if they see you in public, they're gonna want to take pictures with you. Same thing with the house. If you purchase a house that was in a movie or TV show, whatnot, it comes with the price of people coming to your house and taking pictures in front of it. So you just
Yeah.
kind of have to expect it. You can't fight it. I've heard like the Amityville house,
Yeah.
that they don't like people, and even that town don't they don't like anyone coming there. And I'm like, dude, that's it was a hit movie way back in the 70s. It's just the rule of thumb. When you buy a house like that, that's what you're gonna get. Like, you just kind of have to go with the flow, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I've just seen a little YouTube video about like famous houses and all with all the sort of like people, sort of like people like wanting to basically go up to them and knock on the door, have tours and pay your in, take sort of like souvenirs and everything. I was just like thinking, it's somebody's house, that's somebody's home.
That I would draw the line. Like, if don't take anything from someone's house. Like, come on.
Yeah,
But there's people that would do it.
yeah, there is. Unfortunately, there is people out there that do stuff like that. So it's just, I think, just don't. There's a line, don't cross it.
Yeah, it's private. Plus, it's private property too.
Yeah,
I mean, the sidewalk isn't, but if you go into someone's property, but then that's where I feel like you're crossing the line. Like, taking a picture in front of the house, I don't see anything wrong with it.
yeah,
I mean, that if I owned a house like that was in a movie, I would expect it. Like, I'd be cool about it. I wouldn't. In
yeah,
fact, if you go to Pasadena, the house where in Halloween, where Laurie sits like on a fence post with the pumpkin,
yeah,
that house, when you go there, they actually have pumpkins on the porch, and they allow you to take pictures on that same post. So they have pumpkins out there all year round, so you could take pictures. Like, they're cool about it. And I think that's how anyone should be, like, embrace it. You have a
yeah,
house that was in a movie.
yeah. Yeah, as long as you sort of like have like some sort of like strict boundaries with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, we've got a couple of, well, the chat's gone mental with this, with all the horror and spooky talk. Um, Gary says, I think this was about The Exorcist. Didn't they advertise it as real? I believe they did. I
I
believe
think
they
they
did.
did, but I'm not 100% sure. That one I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I know. I was only like a couple of months old, and my parents went to see it, and we came back. I was in my crib next to my parents' bed, and my mother was freaking out every time I moved, she was freaking out, thinking I was the demon.
I still get that effect sometimes if I'm watching movies even now. Like, sometimes after finishing a movie, like I said, they don't scare me, but sometimes, like, the after effect, you hear a noise, you're like, what's that? What's that? Especially when
Yeah,
you watch them at night. Like, during the day, not so much, but like if you watch them at night and you're like, you hear a noise, you're like, what is that?
yeah. You do. It's just like you sort of like in a little sort of like, especially at night when your house is sort of like all quiet and settling down, and you're thinking, you hear like a little sort of like creak or whatever it is, and you're thinking, oh shit, what's that?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, thank you for that, Gaia. Going back to the sort of like the DJ side, Ozzy Queen of the Rose asks, who would you most like to DJ with, to DJ collab with?
Oh my god, if I ever could have, probably my favorite DJs. So to I would love to do a back to back. I know back to backs kind of suck, but if you guys don't know what a back to back is, one DJ plays and then one or two track, and the next DJ plays the next track. And then, or you'll have a DJ where he hogs the entire thing. I've seen that. But I would love to mix with Roger Sanchez. To me, he's probably like he is amazing like club DJ. Every time you see him, it's something different. Like he plays different music. He might have a few of the same tracks you'll hear, but a lot of times he mixes it up, and that's something I like about him. Armand van Helden, lately with him, but he's one of my favorites. I wouldn't mind mixing with him. If you guys aren't familiar with Armand van Helden, he's a house DJ, but he is one of the founders of Speed Garage. So I would love to mix with him, with Oliver Heldens, Carl Cox. He's like the king of techno. Probably he's 63 and he's still mixing like he's in his 20s. Like you would never know he was 63. So he's an amazing DJ. He does he could do anything. I feel like that man can mix anything. He mixes mostly techno, I think, if you see him, but he can mix house. I'm pretty sure he can mix anything. That guy's a legend. Green Velvet, I always call him, if you ever seen Green Velvet mix, he is the DJ with the best posture. He has the straightest posture I've ever seen of a DJ. So if you ever watch him, you'll notice that. But he's an amazing DJ as well. Probably Oscar G. Oscar G is a legend. I could go on and on. But probably it'd probably be with the legends, that because that's who I tend to see. If I see an old school DJ on the bill, that's where I go to. That's who I like to see live, because I like if it's a house legend, especially someone who created house. If they're at a festival I'm at, I definitely make time to go see them.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for that, Ozzy. So going back to sort of like the spooky side of things, you've covered like obviously horror. You've done sort of like paranormal, folk stories, aliens, and all that type of stuff. Which one is your sort of like favorite? What is your favorite go-to sort of like thing?
I actually like talking about movies. I do like talking about horror movies. That's something new I started on my channel, like reviewing horror movies. But I think the one that I like the most, I like the paranormal. I like talking ghost stories. I like folklore. I hope to one day be able to do an investigation like, something like Jason Hawes does.
Yeah.
From Ghost Hunters, if you guys aren't familiar with him. He used to be on network television, but now he's doing his own thing on YouTube. And I feel like with Ghost Hunters, compared to all the other like paranormal shows out there, I feel like they were always the ones that were and I still feel like this now. I feel like they were the ones that never wanted to centralize it, add things to their video type of thing. They kind of went because they like investigating, and that's kind of what I respect them for. And I hope to do something like that one day. Even if I don't find anything, I hope to be able to go to spooky locations and tell the history of the building and share video of what I find if I find anything.
It's over the last, I would say, over the last 25 years or so, there've been sort of like quite a few of the paranormal shows, like Ghost Hunters, going. There's a lot of Ghost Hunters now going, whether it be on TV or on YouTube, or they've got their own websites to actually do stuff like that.
And I know there's been a few that were on network television, but they were kicked off because obviously ratings, if you don't get ratings, you can't stay on. So, but and I know there's a big thing about it, but now they're on YouTube as well doing their own thing. And I think honestly, doing your own thing, you don't own the platform, obviously, but doing your own thing, you're not constricted by like the network telling you what to do. So I think in a way it's better for them to do their own thing.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially when you got executive producers and the network executives breathing down the neck. Oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got
exactly, or you can't do this, or you can't, or we want you to add this into, and you kind of have no say if you're under contract. You know what I mean? So like to do your own thing on YouTube, and obviously they're gonna get the following because they had it already. So if they do start their YouTube, they kind of have like a golden spoon already because they're known already. So they already have that startup. So I feel like some of them kind of, they wanted to blame other people for it. I'm not going to go into it, but they wanted to blame other people for it. But I'm like, that other people got you where you are today. Be happy for it. I would. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even complain. Like, yeah, it sucks being kicked off the network, but at the same time, now you're doing your own thing. Like, I think that's better than being on a network.
Yeah, you got like a lot more freedom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of Jason Hawes, I was watching a podcast last week because it was like obviously it's a spooky month. They got he was on Mythfits, which is like Tony Bellucci and Carrie Byron from Mythbusters. And we got Jason. Jason on, and he got talking about why he went from like doing the network work with Ghost Hunters, then going over to doing YouTube, and the reasons why. And he says that basically it's just like we said, it's like when a contract basically.
I want to say too, I don't know if this is true, but it's kind of like it's speculation, so don't quote me on this, but I always figured that maybe the network wanted them to do something that they didn't want to do. So I always thought that too. Yeah, obviously the contract ended and they decided not to go ahead with it, but at the same time too, I always thought probably the network wanted them to do something that they didn't want to do, because I noticed that their production was kind of looking similar to Ghost Adventures, and they were on the same network. So, and I'm a fan of Ghost Adventures. I know a lot of people aren't, and if as long as you go in there thinking, I'm not saying that the stuff that they're doing is fake, and I'm not saying that the places that they go to very well may be haunted. You never know. You've never been there. But I do know like a lot of these shows do add things to make things interesting, which I don't blame them for doing it at all. I don't, because it's all about making something interesting for someone to watch. Unless you're like a true fan, you're probably not going to watch something if nothing's happening. You know what I mean? So I understand. But that's kind of what I kind of figured out why he went to YouTube, was maybe because the network wanted him to do something that they didn't want to do. I don't know if that's true, but it's just something that I was thinking.
Yeah. It was same. It was like there was a program over here in the UK called Most Haunted. I don't know if you know about it.
I think you know what? I think I've heard of it. I think I have.
It was a big controversy. Oh God, must be back in 2005, 6, something like that. The main spiritualist man who came, who's normally one of the regulars, it was called Derek Cora, and I even knew about him way back in the 80s. That he was a big fake, and I mean a proper. He was just like a complete waste of time. Basically, he was like claiming all this. He was like saying, "Oh, I'm possessed by this this particular spirit," and he was just like, he was called out actually on the show. One of the other experts who was actually on it was like got the main executive producer with the main producer to feed him like false information.
Yeah.
And basically one thing led to another, and basically everybody just like pointed around and says, "Stop lying. We've just given you false information here."
Yeah, there's a lot, unfortunately, there's a lot of, especially I want to say on TikTok, there's a lot of people that want to be TikTok famous. So they do make videos. And I feel bad. I always say this. I feel bad for the person that actually posts something that's real, because we're all going to say that's not real because of the way technology is nowadays. It's so easy to edit and add things to your video. I mean, I can't do that. My editing expertise sucks. So if I did that, you could tell. But there are people that can edit things and make it look real. And I feel bad for those people that actually have seen an alien, a UFO, or had a paranormal experience and caught it on video, and there's people saying that's not real. Like, I feel bad for that. I really do. But it is the sign of the times, unfortunately.
Yeah, and especially with the advent of AI and everything, it's just
that
like thinking, it's like I've had a couple of experiences myself, which I've been meaning to email you about this for the last about a year now. Where I had a couple of sort of like paranormal experiences where way back about 20 odd years ago with my wife. She had at the time before she died, she had diabetes and epilepsy, and she had a seizure. So I made sure she was safe and everything, making sure that she came out of it, which she did, thankfully. But she, because her brain was all messed up with the seizure and everything, I let her sleep. So for a couple of hours, I let her sleep, and she woke up. So I checked on her and everything. Says, "Oh, do you want to have a coffee? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a drink?" She says, "Yeah, I would love that. I would love that." So I went into the kitchen. I was waiting for everything to sort of like boil and everything. So I came through to make sure she was still all right. Then all of a sudden, as I was talking to her, something came up on my left side, on my shoulder, and it felt like somebody has put a block of ice on my left shoulder.
Wow.
And I said, "Kira, is there something standing directly behind me?" And she said, "Yes, there is." And it was trying to intimidate, this presence literally was trying to intimidate me to get out of the house.
Wow.
I was living out.
That's scary.
Then, next thing I knew, this presence, bearing in mind, my wife was lying on the sofa, still coming out of like the haze of having a seizure. Went over to my wife, literally on top of her, trying to strangle her.
Whoa. Scary.
Yeah. And I was like trying to, both of us were trying to get the spirit off, out. We finally managed to do it. And I said,
"Goodness.
Yeah.
That's scary."
Yeah. And basically, we had to get the spiritual church in to sort it out. Basically, we found out that it was the husband of the previous tenant in the house.
No way.
Yeah, he died about 5 or 6 years before she moved into a home, and he was trying to find his wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
That's a crazy story
yeah,
and scary.
yeah. And fast forward that up to around about 10 years, about, yeah, about, I was in back in 2002. Yeah, fast forward 10 years, same place. By this time, my wife died due to complications, which I won't go into here. Um, I was out at a friend's house, and I was coming back, back home, and opened the door, went in to the main living room, and I had a table and chairs in part of the room, and I thought I was in the middle of the Poltergeist film, with the chairs stacked on top of each other, balancing. I was like, "Oh shit!"
That is the poltergeist.
Yeah, and I was like thinking, "Oh shit, not again!" And then I went into the kitchen. I looked into the kitchen. I was like, all the doors were wide open. I was like, "Not again, not again." So I said, "Fuck that!" I said, because my one of my friends basically said, "Did you see him?" I says, "Yeah, I did. It was the same guy from the 10 years ago."
That's crazy.
Yeah. It freaks you out in a big way. It freaks you out.
Yeah, that would freak me out. I mean, I've never had an experience like that, and like a physical experience like that. But if I had something like that, yeah, that would freak me out. That would.
Yeah. Well, put it this way, it wasn't long after that I moved.
Oh,
I got out.
I would too. Because sometimes, I mean, I guess you could try to cleanse the house, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the spirit is, that's where he's gonna spend the rest of his life, unfortunately, or afterlife.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't help. It was on the house was built on a ley line and a footpath, because the place where the houses were used to be old farmland. So it's, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I would have moved too.
Yeah.
I'm kind of good if you live with something that doesn't really affect you, but if it's something like that, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it was just. Yeah, I was just like, about a year later, I moved. About a year later, I moved. I was thinking, I'm not going to do it. It's time to move. Time to move.
Yeah. Luckily, it didn't follow you, because I've heard stories where they've had a haunting like that or similar to yours, and it follows them.
Yeah. Thankfully, with the place where I am now, I sage. I'd do a full cleanse with the white sage. So I was like thinking, yeah, that's not going to happen again.
Oh yeah, because you don't want to move again.
No, I've already moved just in the last 11 years. 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
1,
wow.
2, 3, 4. No, 3 times in the last 2. When I moved from Yorkshire back to where I live now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, 3 times in 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think you would want to move anymore after that.
No. Where I am now, I'm planning to stay for a long time. Yeah. So, I was going to say, have you had any sort of like experiences like of the paranormal?
I've never had anything like physical, like where things move, or like where you saw a figure, or I mean, I've had, and I'm sure this has happened with other people, where you'd be sitting on couch and you would hear your name called. I've had that. Um, I've had weird dreams, uh, where I can't explain them, and I'm like, "Whoa, what happened?" Or I'll have a dream. A lot of times when I dream, it's usually about someone that passed. I guess it's weird. When my mom passed away, I used to dream about her a lot, and I always took that as her telling me that she's okay, and she's making sure I'm okay. And I know, I had a friend that, passed away from breast cancer a while ago, and she was 30. And recently, I want to say within the last couple months, I had a dream about her just out of nowhere, and I was like, "Oh, she's checking up on me, making sure I'm okay." And I've always felt guilty because I never went to her funeral because it was an open casket, and I'm not. I'm more about, I'd rather remember the person as they were, not at their final moments. Because I had watched my mom, hooked up to a gazillion tubes, and I never wanted to see that with anyone else. And I had always felt bad. And I know, like, being at a funeral is completely different. Obviously, the mortician, fixes the person up. But I've always been, I think, I don't want to see anyone in an open casket. Like, I want to remember that person as they were, when they were living, not when they were, sick or dying.
Yeah.
And I always felt guilty about not going. And she came into my dream, but it wasn't. I When I woke up, I felt good. Like, I felt like she understood, and so I've always taken that, like, she understood why I did, and she accepted it, and I always, and that's what I felt when I woke up. She never said it in the dream, but when I woke up, I knew, like, she accepted why I did it, and she was like, "I understand." So I've had things like that happen to me. I had one time where I was talking on the phone and I heard this big bang at the front of the house, and I look out there and I could have sworn there was someone standing out there, but after that there was nothing. I've had things happen where I was out of high school, I was right out of high school. My parents went on a trip, and I was there home alone on the weekends. There's bars on my house. So I've always felt safe on this house. It's this exact same house. And I always felt safe. But that night I was in my room getting ready for bed. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was on the computer or something at that time because I used to chat to everybody online at that time. And the room next to my room, because there was back to back rooms, but there's a wall, but you would have to go around to get to it. That room, I heard a bang, and it was like the outside of that room, on the, like, someone was scratching or, pulling on the bar. Scared the crap out of me. I never called anybody. I was like, okay, I'm locking my doors, I'm turning the lights off, I'm not coming back. I'll look if there's someone that went into the house, I'll look in the morning. Went in the morning, house was not a door open, not nothing. Um Looked over at that room, nothing untouched. The window of the bar was still there. I was like, what was that? Fast forward, now I'm in that room because I moved rooms. So my old room, I'm not in it anymore. And I'm home alone again. And that room does the same exact thing. And I did the same thing. To this day, I have no idea what it is. Like, the same thing. I was like, I'm not opening the doors. I'm locking all the doors. I'm not coming out. If someone wants something, they could come in and go out, right? Um, and I to this day I have no idea what it was. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was if it was an actual person trying to get in, or if it was something evil, like spirit trying to come in. I've had a roommate. I used to have roommates a long time ago. They were at the front of the house. I remember it specifically. They were like, "Did you come?" Because their room to get to the garage, you would have to go through, like a little hallway thing, and they had that door closed. Um, and they were like, "Did you come in here?" And I was like, "No." We literally heard the door open, and then when we went into the bathroom, the cold water was shut off. I was like, "No, I didn't do that." They left like within the week after that. I was
Yeah.
like, no, I never went in there. I swear to you. But they were telling the truth. Like the look on their face was like they were concerned. They were like, no, we literally heard someone open the door and we thought it was you. And they turned the cold water off. I was like, no, that was not me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's same thing within this room. Like I have a camera behind me and I'll leave it on just because I have a lot of equipment in here just for protection, and I'll see orbs on it floating around. And it is an orb because I've had a fly and you could see that it's a fly, or I have popcorn ceiling and you could tell like if the popcorn ceiling comes down. No, this is an orb. And I've had orbs in here. I don't know who it could be. This is my dad's old office, so maybe it's that. I've got pictures of my grandmother and grandfather when they were younger in here. Maybe it's them. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, but that's the type of experiences I've had. I've never really had um like what you've had. I've never seen like I might have seen like a shadow. I think a lot of you've had this happen where you're walking and you could have sworn you've seen something like a shadow at the side, and then you look and there's nothing there. I've had that. Um, I've had experiences another with a shadow, and I could have sworn the cats went in there and they were on the other side of the room. I was like, didn't the cats just walk by here? I could have sworn, like, because I saw something like cat size, like walk by, you know what I mean? But they're on the other side. And so stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've had sort of like pets who've crossed over the Rainbow Bridge, come back and to check up on us and stuff like that, and we've seen them in the corners, looking up and like purring away, wagging their tails or whatever, whatever. But there's been like I've seen shadows like in corner of my eyes and stuff like that as well. So I think everybody sort of like I think everybody has some sort of like that type of experience.
Even though it doesn't seem paranormal, it kind of crosses it a little bit, like the shadow thing at the side. And I'm sure, like I said, everyone experiences that one time in their life. I still think it's like somebody or something, maybe a past animal that you had. Like I could have sworn, like the one of the shadows that I've seen, because it was like lower. I could have sworn it was one of my cats that had passed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like keep going on to sort of like paranormal experiences. Have you ever had like when you've been when you've been to sleep? Have you ever had a dream where you sort of like you woken up and you had sort of like a dream where it was so real? It's just like thinking, okay, you filed it away, and about 2 3 weeks later, it came true.
I have never had anything like that, but I've had like, you know how you get feelings and you don't think of it much? I've had feelings like that, or I'm jokingly saying, "Oh, this person's gonna bring me food." I've had it happen actually, and the person brings me food, and I'm like, I just thought that and I felt that, but it actually happened." Like I've had that type of things happen, but not a dream where it actually happened. Like the dreams I had were kind of weird, but like I had one as a kid that was reoccurring. It was weird. I would always look out my at the time it was my parents' room, and at that time it had a big sliding glass door to go out to the patio, and this reoccurring dream I would have it all the time. It would be like kind of like stormy, and I would look out and there'd be like these little critters that kind of looked like gremlin size, like mugwai size, like how
Yeah.
I have, and they would have these big eyes, and I would have that dream over and over again, like when I was little. I don't know what the meaning of it is, but I vividly remember having that dream. I would look out the window and there'd be these creatures like running around the backyard, and it'd be kind of stormy outside, and it'd be a tent out there and it's kind of rustling in the wind, and this one creature would come up to the glass and press up against the glass, and it had these big eyes, and I'm like I
Yeah.
still to this day don't know what that dream means.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason why I asked, because I had about what 2 or 3 dreams where I dreamt that someone was actually pregnant, and about 2 or 3 months later, because I woke up like basically wanting to throw up. I was actually throwing up, and it turned out that the dreams, the people that I was having the dreams about, were it turned around and says, "I'm pregnant."
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I've never had anything like that,
yeah,
but that's crazy.
yeah. And it was like it was a weird sensation when I was like sort of like waking up and he's actually throwing up. Obviously, that was throwing up meant morning sickness.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I felt like I said, I filed it away. Yeah, right. Well, it was just a dream. And they turned around, the people who were had a dream about it says, "Oh yeah, I'm pregnant."
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, it was weird. It's sometimes I still get them now and again. I might have some sort of like dream where it's just like, yeah, it was like weird, really weird, really weird.
That's
So
crazy. Cool and
yeah,
crazy at the same time.
it is. It is. It's going back to when I got there. I had to get the spiritual church in. They said that because I was because I was there, I asked them to make some hot drinks, and he says, "No, don't go. Please don't go from this room. Stay with us because you are the anchor. Yeah, you've got the natural ability to become to do like to be a psychic, to be like a medium."
Oh,
Um,
no way. That's crazy.
and they said that basically you are the calming influence here.
Wow. That means I've heard people that have that gift are usually a beacon to
Yeah,
the like the paranormal, like the spiritual world. So a person that's like kind of like open or like a psychic or whatnot. I call people open. Um they are more prone to having paranormal experiences because the spirits are attracted to you, is what I've
yeah,
heard.
yeah,
Because you're like a light and they'll
yeah.
go to you for answers.
Yeah. Um, Lisaboo, as you said, my dad, who had passed away, came to me in a dream and told me I was pregnant. I was so shocked and found out not long after I was.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. It's cool and crazy, like I said at the same time. When things like
yeah,
that happen, like, you can't explain it.
you can't,
You can't.
you can't, no, no, you can't. Yeah, it is sort of like it just sort of like makes me think what is how much can a human actually do with the mind? What have we lost over the millennia?
I feel like too we all some way have, because we have instincts, like how they say motherly instinct, like we just know things sometimes. I feel like we all have, we're all like I said, I call it open. We're all open in a way where we do have experience. We may not be like a psychic level, but we do have some form of like intuition. So I feel like we all have a gift in a way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's some people totally ignore it, and
Yeah.
some people
Yeah.
totally embrace it. So as we're going on for nearly 90 minutes, I can't believe it. I can't believe this has gone so fast. Guys in the chat, if you've got any more questions for Lisa, please ask away because we're going to be starting to wrap things up. For the DJ side of things, have you got any advice for people who want to do it?
For the like for
The
the
DJ for the
for the
DJ side,
DJing,
yeah,
just do it, just practice. That's kind of how I feel like I know there's classes, there's programs, but I feel like to learn, honestly, you just have to do it. And just who cares if you suck? Just go on. Like I kind of have a thing where I get kind of the jitters or it stops me. Where I feel like, oh, I'm not that good, and it kind of stops me from going on, and I need to get rid of that because honestly, I've seen people play in front of a crowd and they don't play that well, and I'm like, if they could do it, I could do it. Like what's stopping me? So that would be my advice. Like, don't just do it. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let your little, angel and devil on your shoulder tell you otherwise. Just do it. Practice. Even if you're learning and you're doing it in front of people, who cares? Enjoy it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
To learn it takes, you got to do it. You can't learn from like a program. You can't learn. It's like learning any instrument. It's the same thing. You just have to practice and do it.
Yeah, definitely. So, going on sort of like the spooky side of things, what horror films or horror TV shows would you sort of like recommend?
I saw one that I've seen lately. Monsters. I would give Monsters a look. The Ed Gein. I know that's more true crime, but it's still kind of. I feel like true crime is hand in hand with the spookiness. If you haven't seen all the Monsters, check out all the Monsters. Like I said, I feel like the best one was the Jeffrey Dahmer one, so check that one out. I saw Substance, which is, if you guys have Max, it's on there. It's a body horror film with Demi Moore. I actually enjoyed it because it was something different. So if you want to see something different, check that out. And if you want to see Demi Moore in like a horror type of film, it's not scary. It's more of a like a body horror type film. If you guys haven't seen a body horror type film, that was kind of like the first body horror film I saw. I've probably seen others. I just didn't know that's what they called it. But check that out. It's on Max. The remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer's on Netflix now. If you want to check that out, it was the killer's good in it. The storyline is but if you want to check out something spooky, and if you're a fan of I Know What You Did Last Summer, I'm not a big fan of it, but I wanted to check it out anyways. Check it out. It is on Netflix. I know Weapons is coming on October 24th. I'm looking forward to watching that. That's on my list. And also the series Welcome to Deary is going to be out on Max on October 26th, and it's a series. It's a prequel to it. To the newer It with Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, cool. So, what is coming up on Grayson Report?
I am going to I'm probably going to do a movie review on, if you guys want to check it out, there is a Halloween fan film on YouTube. It's free to watch. It's called Halloween Aftermath. I'm going to do a review on that. I love fan films. In fact, the fan film for Smile, I liked better than the actual film. So I'm always looking at fan films. There's a lot on YouTube if you guys want to check out horror fan films. A lot of them are like 5 minutes long. The most I've seen is the 2 hours and 15 minutes, like the Halloween Aftermath. So if you have 2 hours and 15 minutes, check it out. It's like I think it's the events happen after the 2018 film.
Is that the Rob Zombie film?
No, it's the Blumhouse film, the one after.
Right.
The Blumhouse film. I believe it happens after the Halloween, the 2018 Halloween, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But for a fan film, it's beautifully produced. The acting, I mean, with those films, acting can go up and down. Acting's good. It's better than what I can do. With fan films, I'm not gonna be, super, because a lot of them are low budget, but this one looked like it had a pretty good budget. To be honest with you. But I'm not super critical when it comes to fan films. It's people that are fans of whatever they're making and they want to make something of it, or they want to make like a horror short. And I like to support those because honestly, putting it on YouTube. They really don't get any money for doing what they're doing. But they're doing it because they love to do it and they want to give it out. So if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It is on YouTube, and I'm going to do a review on that and see what else I can find.
Cool. So Lisa, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a complete pleasure to talk to you. It's been amazing.
Oh, no problem. I had a blast.
Yeah, and so has Lisaboo. She says, "Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on. I have really enjoyed this so much."
Oh, same here. I had a blast. Like I said, this hour and a half went by quick.
Yeah, it has. And then Ozzy says, "Awesome string. Thanks so much." Gia said, "Thank you, Lisa and Elle. This stream's been awesome." Yeah. A lot of people have enjoyed it, and I most certainly have as well. So go check out Lisa Grayson over on Grayson Report and on Twitch under DJ
Grywuff.
Grywuff. Yeah. Excuse me. So guys, until next time, we'll catch you all later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.